Wow, right on cue. It is 9 a.m. I'd like to welcome you to the July 6, 2016 City Council meeting. Let the record reflect that all City Council members and officials are present. Please stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Blessed are you, Lord of creation. You feed the whole world with your goodness, your grace, your kindness, and your mercy. You nourish us with attributes which we aspire to ourselves. May this council and all present here accept your guidance and counsel in all matters coming before this assembly today. Amen.
Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
First, we have a couple of special presentations. Howard. Where is she? You want to do the,
We'll do the budget first.
do the finance department?
We will do the budget first. Man, this is heavy. Each year, for a long time now, our finance department, you know how they always get a certificate for the financial reporting report they do at the end of the year, but they also do, each year, they get a Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, which means they meet all national criteria for the budget process, the budget document, the budget communication, and not everybody gets that. We've been doing it for year after year after year. The finance crew is right over there behind you. And what we'd like to do is present to finance, who's coming up, the fiscal year 2015 Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. And each year, they're going to get more circles added to it. This is, we have Sharon Nippenberg and Kristen Simeone to represent finance.
I know, I said I was going to keep this very short. I just wanted to thank all of you because this award represents a process, not a document. And the process is extensive involvement by the community, letting the city council know what their priorities are. It's the city council being very active in developing criteria, so that's your strategic priorities and goals. And then it's the staff identifying what services they're expected to do at what level, and how does it achieve the strategic priorities and goals of the city. Then the document, which is developed by your finance staff, along with the help of every operating department, provides information to you, which we know you would love to read, so it's up on the website for you. And if you want a copy, well, just tuck your laptop right next to your bedside for insomnia. It's only 450 pages long. But there, we have added colored graphs and charts for your viewing enjoyment. So in all seriousness, it's an important document, and it's a document that we do look back on in the previous year, and we say, did we do what we intended to do, and are we still going forward in the right direction? So thank you all very much.
Thank you. How many years in a row is it? Do you know? We lost track.
Since the year Howard began working.
Howard.
Yeah, all right.
So, I guess after 10 years, you start forgetting that you have to be here. She's always over there. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe you were trying to save a tree this morning or what. Anyway, we have a 10-year service award for one of our senior planners, Joan LeBeau, who's also our Superior Comprehensive Plan guru, among many other things.
Queen of Arbor Day.
Queen of Arbor Day. Come on up, Joan.
Congratulations.
For those of you that don't know, there's a backstory on how Joan came to work for the city. The planners were meeting with the county to discuss the comprehensive plan, and Joan's boss was running late. So the planners took advantage of that moment and told Joan they were interested in her filling an open position if she was interested. So we kind of got her on the sly from the county, and we are so happy to have her.
Just for the record, I was diligently working. Thank you very much. I'm very honored to have been working here 10 years, and I look forward to another 10. Yay. Okay, next we have introduction of board committee member nominees. If your name has been submitted for a city board or committee and you would like to come introduce yourself, now would be the time. Okay, seeing none, we will have a short recess and we will reconvene as the CRA redevelopment agency.
Yeah. Good morning. Yeah, it's healing.
Good morning.
I'm good.
How are you feeling?
It's all right. It's a nuisance, but it's okay. Yeah, it's.
So does your husband have to drive you everywhere because you've got a schizophrenia?
Oh no.
You're not milking this?
Yes, I am. Driving isn't one of them though. But yeah.
What's the temperature in Colorado?
I don't know. I talked to my daughter.
More comfortable than here.
He's already told me I can't wait till you're not wearing this.
You know, we lost
It's hard to do some things. My grandson's usually oldest one's physical.
Oh, they are?
Front two fans and back two.
Gotta be as noisy.
We didn't lose 2 chairs.
And one of them didn't come off.
Because I think it's happened when you least expect it, because if you're starting to feel
Okay, everybody's in position. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect that all CRA officials are present. And the first item of business is we have citizens' comments on CRA agenda items only, which would be the project status report, the approval of the regular and special meeting minutes, the appropriation of funding for the Lashley Park Marina building repairs, a resolution for the marina rates, and the budget status update for the CRA area. So if you would like to comment on any of those agenda items, now would be the time. Please come to the podium. You will have 3 minutes, and you will have a timer down there keeping track of your time. Anybody to speak on the CRA? Okay, seeing none, we will move into the project status report. Howard.
Howard Kunick, CRA Director. This is the July report. The Marina. We'll have a more extensive discussion of the Marina coming up a little later in the meeting. 18 liveaboards, including the moorings. You see how the community room activity, and this is the Pumpout Vessel activity, and that's as of June 26th. Get a little flavor from May and June of last year. The building improvements on the next item on the agenda is to move money around from the reserves in order to pay the contractor for the window repair that we think will finally, including a drainage trench in front of the windows, hopefully that it will resolve it. And maybe in the next month or two, we can take this off of the monthly report. You won't see it anymore.
Okay.
We hope. We're moving forward with our affordable housing units at the Andrews Building on Virginia and MLK. We already had a kickoff meeting with the architect, and they're moving along.
Howard, have they been successful in securing any grant funding at this point? I know they're trying.
They're applying.
They're applying, okay.
We gave letters of support, so.
Yeah, they're applying. They're honoring what they said they would do.
Good, good.
A group went to Pine Manor project in Fort Myers for our fresh market Remember, this is not really a community garden. This is more of a business-type venture. So the survey and the environmental study underway. So we're moving along. This is CDBG funded, Community Development Block Grant Funds. The Harborwalk projects, the Harborwalk West Area 1, we're getting ready to, we'll bid it out as soon as we got the word we can bid it. That's coming soon, right? Should be coming soon. And Gilchrist Park, boy, they're moving like gangbusters down there, the Citizens Group.
Nice.
They may actually get to their $100,000 goal.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. That park is gonna look better than all the houses along Retta by the time. Jeez. Man. Anyways, the 100% plans for the restroom, we're getting ready to bid those. Restrooms first, and then we'll do the playground. Design build on the playground. The Harborwalk widening near the Justice Center, that one we haven't talked about a whole lot. We did approve it last year during the budget process. And there's a curve as you go along the Harborwalk behind the Justice Center. It's kind of narrow. We're going to widen that. Allow people to see a little better. The 41 Bridge Underpass, again, we're getting ready for bidding that. There's going to be a lot of work going to be bid out and started. We're going to be under construction, a lot of construction soon. We go in spurts around here. And the Marina building, if you've been by there lately, you can see the footbridge is starting to take shape. Staff says that the concerns regarding the Shreve Street facade were addressed by the architect, so they've listened. The next meeting will be in July. Do we know when yet?
The third week.
Third week in July, so we'll keep you up to date. We have yet to hear back from the county on, remember the offer we made regarding our staff and their staff doing all of the site preparation? We have yet to hear back whether they're on board or not. So,
I thought you got an email that said that was great when you sent that.
yeah,
Okay,
you might have.
but that was it.
That was just
Okay.
one person saying it was great. Till we actually get back word that, yes, we're on go and here's how we're going to do it.
Okay.
I mean, we think it's great, but, we gotta hear back. We gotta get, we're ready to work with them and get this thing done. We have not. We're still waiting. And the wall, half of the granite is been on, it's on, they're doing the cap work, and the other half will come somewhere around July 11th. We are looking at the parking. That's going to take a little longer than we thought. We need to make sure that there is, that there is funding available in order to do it. But we did get the go-ahead from the county that we can put the parking in. But anyways, that's some of the granite work. Really looking good.
And what are the future agenda items we're going to have concerning the park that we know about? Because I met with the group over there. They have some concerns about the park area itself.
In August, September, when you come back from recess, we will have an agenda item that will give us staff's ideas on how to redesign the Veterans Garden area, including the gazebo. Not tear down the gazebo, but spruce it up a little.
Spruce it up.
Spruce it up.
Okay.
Good. So that'll be August, September, along with a lot of other items.
Is that a warning?
That's a lot of items. We
So
have
enjoy the break, huh?
We have 3 meetings in a row, and we will figure out which ones will go on what.
If you happen to be over there, just go in the gazebo and take a real good look around so you have an idea of what their concerns are. They're pretty obvious.
Well, it's kind of worn.
Yes.
It's been a concern before the wall went up.
Yes. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's great. It'll get done.
Why isn't this
It's
moving?
beautiful.
Oh, I guess we're done.
Questions for Howard on any of those items? No?
I do have a question about the library. When Howard said there's a meeting in July, is that a public meeting or is that a staff meeting?
That's the staff, that's the regular staff meetings that they
Okay.
do to get updates on the design and the,
And when they, you mentioned the facade on Shreve Street, some of the schematics or the drawings that they showed from the parking lot, they really stripped down things a lot as well. Are they making things look a little bit better from the parking lot?
David Hilston, Urban Design. Yes, they, what they did was they took the focus in between that very bare one to the last meeting and actually started going backwards, and that's where our concern for the Shreve Street facade came up. So, yes, they addressed the rear, but they're also addressing the front.
Good. Thank you.
Howard, do you know, they usually are taking their workshop days to talk about these things. Do you know if they have anything on their workshop agenda? No? Okay, we'll have to check that out and see if something pops up on there. Okay, no other questions? All right, next we have approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of June 1st.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve those minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then we have the minutes of the special meeting that was held on June 15th.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. And next, we have appropriation of funding for the Lashley Park Marina building repairs.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the appropriation. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. And then we have a resolution of the CRA with the reestablishing the rental rates for the boat slips at Lashley Park Marina.
Move approval.
Second.
Hold on. Hold on just a
We have
moment.
a motion, a second, but we have a little short presentation.
This is a resolution, which I'll read by title only.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
A resolution of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Punta Gorda, Florida, repealing resolutions 2908-10 and 2927-11, reestablishing rentals rates for boat slips at Lashley Park Municipal Marina, reestablishing rental rates for the vessels mooring within the east mooring field, and providing an effective date.
So we have a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Go ahead.
Who moved in second?
Tom and Kim.
Good morning. Mikhail Finkel, paralegal for the record. I just wanted to point out two quick things since when you discussed this July 1st. The proposed resolution took into account the increased rates for the annual, semi-annual, and monthly for the marina. We also looked at commercial rates. Here's a comparison. Staff in this resolution has recommended $2 increasing for commercial, $2. And then we looked at mooring, which we did not recommend any change in the actual rates, but the liveaboard fee of $50 will apply to liveaboards in the mooring field. So I just wanted to point that out.
Still good? Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay, and next we have the 2017 budget status update for the CRA.
That's one of those 3 PowerPoints. Sorry. Good morning, Sharon Nippenberg, for the record, Controller. We have the 3 final budgets to bring to you this morning, and we're bringing CRA during the CRA session so we can have all commissioners involved. The CRA is now broken into 3 separate divisions. It was important to do that. It was an agreement with the county when the the city and the county agreed to extend the life of the district. The first section of CRA is the ad valorem tax that's contributed both from the county and the city towards paying the debt of the district. We call that the TIF. And as you can see, in 16 and 17, the revenues respectively are 1.4 million and 1.5 million, and the debt is 1.3 million and a little bit more than 1.3 million. So the restructuring of the debt and the extension of the district, we believe, will successfully allow for the TIF money to fully repay the debt within the constrained period of time. The little bit of money that is not spent each year will now be put into a reserve. So you can see the bottom two lines. In 16, the current year, the reserve started at 128 this year. It will grow to 216. Next year, it will grow to 370. At some appropriate point in time, those reserves will be used to pay off the debt faster. So the assumptions that we are using right now is a net increase of 4% in TIF revenue, that the millage rates for the city and the county will remain the same, and that the debt service will continue based on the current schedule. And this is what the tax increment revenue has looked like. Just as a reminder, the good years, 2007 and earlier, and then we had a serious decline. And we are now just slowly pulling ourselves out of that. And that was the reason for the need for the restructuring of the debt, because the revenue followed that same slide, beginning at 2 million and dropping down below 1.4 million, and now we're slightly back up again. This is what the new restructuring has done for us. 2013 was the first year of the restructuring, and it was balanced. We used every bit of the TIF to repay debt, and now we are slightly accumulating a reserve towards any future year where the assessed revenue might not come in to meet the debt. The second, any questions on that?
It's not a question, but it's a suggestion. I think that eventually we need to go ahead and set up an extra fund for maintenance down the road, and I would hope that we would do that.
Maintenance of infrastructure.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That is an excellent suggestion, and you might see it a little bit later in the slideshow.
Okay, good.
I love it when we all think the same way.
Sharon?
I'm sorry.
I'm curious on this leak for the garage that we're talking about. What
Yes.
fund is that going to come out of, and what will it do to it?
It will come out of the CRA fund, and it will come out of the other operating division. So that's where we're going to right now.
There was some, I'm sorry, I was just saying there was some conversation that 5 years down the line, there'd be another major expenditure out of that. I hope you're aware of that. And Howard has promised to bring it back for our look at it in August.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It has been, when we look at the entire fund, it has been in our 5-year plan that in 2018, we would begin a $50,000 fund each year. I wish I'd had the foresight to make it 2016, because that was the year we definitely needed it. The second division is actually operating Herald Court. At some point, we will move operations of Herald Court out of CRA and into its own special revenue fund, or an enterprise fund, because its revenues are dedicated to just running the lower level where all the office space is. So what you see here, the revenues that you see are very specifically the rent lease revenues coming in, and the CAM, the common area maintenance fees that are assessed, and the ad valorem that's assessed. And the expenditures are very specifically common area maintenance for the lower level, and the regular janitorial, electricity, all of that. So we are now finally beginning with the level. Yes.
Well, I guess my question is, at the last meeting, we were told it was going to be, approximately $500,000 every 5 years to fix it. So if we only save 50, we're gonna be short $250,000. And if I look at this and I added $100,000 to the expenditures each year, I'm still not getting up to what the revenues are.
Let me move to the third division. Remember,
Okay.
there are 3 divisions here.
Okay.
This is just to focus on the rent coming in and what is appropriate to spend the rent on. It is
Okay.
not on the maintenance of the parking garage.
Okay.
This is, I'm sorry, city
Sorry.
manager.
Howard Koenig for the record. We don't have to spend 500,000 every 5 years.
No.
This is a major fix this year. We will have to spend more to upkeep the ceiling, but it's not the $500,000 level every 5 years.
That was just a guarantee period that we were given with a contract for
Yes.
5 years. And it may go on for, who knows? We may not need to spend that kind of money.
That's not what.
That
was
wasn't
said.
the way I understood.
No.
Gary?
That wasn't, my recollection of the conversation is that this was gonna be an ongoing repeat to caulk this parking garage at $500,000 a year. That was the way I thought it was explained to us.
And that we could seal it and get an extra 2 years.
Yeah, which was, and I recall saying, and that was almost the same cost as if we just went ahead and just redid the whole thing. We said we could get an extra 2 years on maintenance, but the cost of the maintenance was the same as if you just redid it every 5 years.
So we misunderstood.
I missed part of that as I was walking in. Mark Gehring, Public Works. What we were told when we called out for an estimate to get the building fixed this time, had we called them a year or 2 ago, we could have got by for a couple $100,000, and that would have prolonged it a few years. So we've assumed that by doing this repair now for $500,000, that in 4 or 5 years, we can get a maintenance program for another couple $100,000 and prolong that. But when you annualize that out over all the time, it's still 50 to 100,000 per year, every year, that we need to
That was
dedicate to that
that was my
cause.
understanding.
Okay.
So when we get to that reserve amount, it probably should be more closer to 100,000 instead of 50.
Yeah.
So we're covered.
Right.
I'm gonna, if I may, I'm gonna skip to the third division now, because I think that's where we'd like to focus. The third division, we'll think of this as like the general fund of CRA. It's a catch-all for everything that's not specific. So the general fund is where we want to say, we're restricted to just current projects, no new projects, unless we go to the county and they agree. So the current projects, we have laid it out from now until fiscal year 2028. We can fund at this level with the current revenues that are coming in from the land lease of the marina, from the land lease to the bank, and from the repayment of Treby Woods. So we can pay $45,000 annually towards the Herald Court Center facility. That will be the parking garage. If we don't need the money in 2017, it will drop into a reserve, just like we're doing in all of our other funds. We have $57,000 annually for the fountain maintenance. That is an actual expense that will go out the door. That's what it costs to pay them to keep it swimming pool pristine and minor repairs for that. Then we have another $40,000 annually that we will set aside for Lashley Park and Marina facilities. Now, Lashley Park could be the pavilions, it could be the fountain, it could be the restrooms. It's all of the infrastructure built by CRA. And obviously, at some point in the future, that will have to transition over to the general fund when CRA is no longer in existence. We can sustain funding those 3 things at that level until 2028.
And that's not including that little reserve that we showed, the TIF reserve.
That TIF reserve is a separate reserve.
It's
I'll
going to stay for the debt.
just
service.
for
debt
TIF.
service.
This reserve, as you see, started out at the beginning of 2016 as a $1.2 million reserve. At the end of this year, it will drop to $560 because of those 2 major repairs this year. Yes, sir.
This, I guess, is for Howard. When does the CRA approval from the county run out?
2031.
2031?
Yes.
So they're up, okay.
So 2028 is looking very good. If everything continues and the crystal ball is clear, that may be the year we pay off the debt, and that may be the year that we are able to close CRA down. However, if we get those bumps in the road, business cycles go up and down, and we have to dip into reserves to make payments, we have that little cushion of years beyond 2028 to take care of it. So we will keep a very close eye on that for you.
So we're gonna be saving $45,000 annually for the Herald Court?
Yes,
Okay.
for the whole parking structure,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Now, what we really need to do is work with somebody in the business who can say to us, if you own a parking structure, this is the type of expenditures you should plan on doing. This is when you should reseal, this is when you should paint, this is when you'll need to look at the foundation, or all of those things. So we need that study and we need that plan in place, so we're all comfortable with what's gonna come forward.
Okay, so I guess I'm still confused about where the money is gonna be this $45,000 is the money that's gonna be saved for the,
The caulking of the
garage.
Right now, we're, of the 1.2 million, we are appropriating 476,000 of that to
Right.
get the deck up to the level it should be and protected for the next 5 years.
and then you're gonna save 45 a year for,
Then of that 560,000 remaining reserve, we're gonna spread that from now until 2028, allocating it in this fashion: 45,000 a year towards Herald Court Center, 57 being spent on the fountain, and 40 on the Lashley Park.
but I don't think we're gonna have enough.
Well, you do have annual revenue coming in too. I'm sorry. You see your revenues of 108,000?
They're going down.
Those are your lease payments that are coming in. So you have the 108 a year, plus we're slightly dipping into the reserves each year.
But we were already spending it, and without that expenditure in there.
Well, this is just the general now. This is just the general. I'm sorry, we have been building that reserve, so now we're
Right.
gonna start pulling into it.
Right.
And I'm sorry, if I'd given you the whole 5 years and the prior year, it might have been a little clear. I do have it here if you want me to,
I'm still not clear where this extra $50,000 a year is gonna come, that's gonna be the maintenance obligation for the caulking of the parking garage. I see 45,000, but we hear that it's really $100,000 a year. So I see a $50,000 shortfall, and I'm not clear where that's coming from.
and that you heard the engineer say it could be 50 to 100. So we started with the 100, and I'm trying to give you practical what we can afford,
I thought I heard
not what
Mark
it's
say
going.
that it was a wash, whether we did the $500,000 at a time, or we could spend another $100,000 a year to get a couple more years out of it, not $100,000 for 2 years.
I'm sorry, we would have to leave that to the engineer to work on that. What finance did was took the money available, which is, if you look at our 2017 budget, we have 108,000 of new revenue coming in, and we're proposing to spend 151.
I mean, I understand that's what we have, but I'm
Yes.
just saying that's not what we need, is.
Exactly.
I mean, I know we have that, and that's why that number is there, but we have to understand that we're gonna need 50,000 more. So at some point, I mean, I know it's not on here, but at some point, we need $50,000 more a year to pay for that.
And if that is true, if the 45,000 is not the correct number, if it's really 100, yes, we have a
Right.
shortfall. You're
Right.
absolutely
Okay.
right.
All right.
Because the 57 is a wash. It comes in, we pay
Right.
that out. That's
Yes.
already our
Right.
contract, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then the 40,000 could be there too if there weren't any other needs
We generally have that much in needs every year, so that you should think of as spent.
as spent.
It's the 45 up above that generally we have not needed up until now, and we had thought it would begin the cushion of building towards some future need, not a current day need, but a future need.
Excuse me a second. Marina, we're generating more revenue because we raised the rates, and if it fills up more, we're gonna have more money to use for the marine expenses than we're.
That is true. The finance director is just reminding me that the marina facilities, if we choose to, we could use marina enterprise revenue to pay for those. Up until now, the marina enterprise has been like a break-even situation. So maintaining the
Sometimes not.
building and the docks, we look to the CRA. But in the future, we might be able to start looking to the enterprise fund.
I mean, and I see what you're doing because this is what's going on right now. I'm just saying in the future, and like when we talked about rates and what our rates would be, and we said we raised them and that's fine. And we're not as high as Fisherman's Village and, you know, we still have some wiggle room in there. But they're good, you know, even at Lashley Park, we're adding the footbridge. That's a maintenance thing. It's gonna be a maintenance. So
Yes.
as we add these wonderful things to the city, there's going to be more maintenance. So as I know we kind of tend to inch along with stuff, but it's like, we have to have the money to pay for the amenities. It's just the way it is. So if the fees need to be up, they need to be up. You know, otherwise you're gonna end up raising taxes. I mean, because it will be paid for one way or another. So I'm just saying, let's be realistic.
That
We
is
keep adding things,
excellent
but
point.
it will have maintenance to it.
Yes, it will.
So,
Sharon, what was the drop in revenue, the 10,000 from last year to this year? What was the reason for that?
Relief on the rents for one thing.
No, this is just general operations. I believe one of them was the post office. You know, they said they no longer wanted to lease that parking lot from us, so now it's just a public lot. I think that was it 5 or 10,000? That was 5,000 of it, and I apologize, I'm not sure what the other 5 drop is. I will find out for you,
Okay,
though.
I didn't know about the parking lot. We should put like 1 hour parking in there then. 'Cause they're probably still using it, I'm sure.
We have explored before, and I know it's not the most popular conversation, but we could certainly look at parking fees and for people putting their boats in the water, and we could look at parking fees at the Herald Court. I mean, there are things that we could and should look at, and if you were to turn it over to the private sector to run, that would be the very first thing they would do. So,
But so there is a future source of revenue.
yes, yes.
We're not there.
I know the CRA members, some have been here throughout all those discussions. After 3 times, we've stopped bringing it. As a staff, we have stopped bringing to you, putting fees associated with boat trailer parking. We don't even bring up fees associated with the parking garage. We just don't do it anymore.
But it's a future, I mean, it is a source of revenue in the
possibility.
future. So we don't need it right now, maybe.
Maybe.
The last thing I wanted to spell out for you, because when we were sitting with our $1.2 million reserve, now this is just the general reserve, not your TIF reserve, not your Herald Court operations reserve. We were probably thinking we were comfortable. Of course, Dave Jury and I never think we're comfortable. And then I think 16 has sort of told the tale. We had to spend $476 to get the Herald Court parking deck back in shape, $36,000 on the Marina windows, another $26,500 to safely finish railing the entire building. We have always had the $110,000 sitting in the build-out reserve. That's not new. It's been sitting there for the future tenants. But we had to do some soil stabilization at Lashley Point, and we need to do new flooring in the community room. So you took a $1.2 million reserve and went right down to 560. So what we want to tell you is that 560 needs to be protected and needs to be looked at very closely as to what it should be used for in the future.
Tom?
Sharon, what is that, the Herald Court parking deck project? Is that the waterproofing? Okay,
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure of that.
Yes, there are many titles for that project, I'm sorry. But that is changing.
And as
that
Mark
fourth.
said, we need to get an accurate analysis of what the maintenance for that will be
I
going
agree
down
with
the
you.
road, and then we can make more informed
agree with
decisions,
you.
I would think.
Absolutely. We want that for Harold Court, and we want that for the marina. How often should it be dredged? How often do you need to work on the dock area? Our dock master has already informed us that we need to, out on the floating docks, we need to replace all of the connections, and he's recommending that we go with stainless steel this time, and we certainly are going to listen to him.
When is the last time we looked at the community room rates? Have we looked at those?
Those, I believe, we have not looked at in a while. Would you like us to explore that?
Yeah, because, I mean, we have to maintain it.
Okay.
So if we don't have anything built in, if it's a loser, if we're losing money on it, then we really need to look at,
All right.
being able to keep it solvent.
We can certainly do that for
Because
you.
it's getting used.
You can
Yes.
tell
That's
we're
why
all
we need a new
concerned.
floor.
Yes, yes.
That's the good news.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to discuss on CRA? This is where
Today,
we will
right?
be at, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was an open-ended. So at the end of 17, we will have that 42,000 being used towards those categories that we talked about. If it's not used, it will stay identified as future R&R, just like we do in all of our other major funds. So I'm pleased to say that this will be a new financial policy that we'll bring before you to adopt and put in. When we got the budget award, I neglected to mention to you that they give you ratings of, meeting expectations, exceeding, and excellent. And in our financial policies, all three reviewers gave us an excellent.
Nice.
That was very encouraging to know that we're on the
great.
right track.
That's great.
So this may be more, we kind of touched on, maybe I'm repeating something that was already said, but is there any way to go through procurement and try to find somebody who could watch over this waterproofing caulking thing and just have a contract for that instead of, having to deal with it on a emergency type of basis?
You're talking like an oversight manager just for infrastructure?
Just for that, yeah, just because we've already been told that we have to continue doing it.
Yep.
Unless we sell it.
Good morning, Marion Pace for the record. Once the project gets completed and closed out, they will give us a complete O&M manual, that operations and maintenance manual, that will lay out what we need to do to not only keep the parking garage deck up to date, but also maintain it. I mean, it even goes down to weekly maintenance, monthly maintenance that is required to maintain the warranty. So we will be handing those out to the department.
So that will be a cost that we will know and we can possibly put out to bid as the need requires, or if the need requires.
I believe that staff could go through that maintenance book and identify the maintenance items and be able to prepare a budget for it.
That would be helpful. Thank you. Any other questions on the budget?
Just a comment. We've seen 2 years, but I think Sharon, you alluded to, it'd be nice if we saw more of a pro forma that would go over a longer period of time so that we could address some of the items that have been discussed and could help us try to anticipate some of the problem areas that may be possibly popping up.
Absolutely, and I do have it. If you want me to put it on the overhead, I'm happy to do that, or I will just distribute it for you to look at, and you can set up another meeting to discuss it,
Yeah.
whichever way you'd like to do it.
Just distribute it. I don't think we need to discuss it today.
Okay,
Sounds good.
all right. Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have citizens' comments on CRA area. If you have any comments on the CRA and you would like to come to the podium, state your name. You have 3 minutes. Citizens' comments on CRA. Commissioner comments. Nancy.
I'm looking forward to the projects beginning, as Howard talked about, and have a great break.
I'd just like to say briefly, having sat in a number of meetings with other city and county councilmen and so forth, even though we may have seemed like we were beating up on you, Sharon, I just want to compliment all you guys, because at least we're trying to deal with these issues proactively rather than reactively, as some other communities are. So I just want to just make that comment.
I have a question of Howard. When you present this at the August meeting on the garage, will you be able to give us, or should we get an estimate of what it would, you'd put it on the market for if we chose to sell it? So we have some idea what revenue would come in from that? Can you do that, please?
I think we did that.
No?
I mean, without going out for a,
We did this before.
an
did we not?
appraisal, we
yeah, we
did,
did
when's
that
the,
I don't remember it. If you got it, I'd like to hear it.
What's
We
the
have
last
never,
one?
no,
We have
no,
never.
no. We have never actually gotten an idea of selling the entire facility. All we talked about was the first floor before. What Commissioner
Anything you
Weichel
could
is
give me,
talking
I
about,
would appreciate.
he's talking about the entire building. That's different.
I haven't got a prayer to pass that, I know, so let's talk about the first floor.
So,
Well, what is it, the first
so-
floor, or do
so
you
in-
want?
Well, let's be clear, in August, are we going to be talking about the entire building or the
That's
first
what I-
floor?
that's what I
Because
heard
if we're
before.
talking about the entire building, we have to come to a conclusion on what we will do, what we want to do with the parking.
Again, what I heard at the last meeting was you want a discussion on the entire building.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. I
Yeah,
thought we heard that.
we should
So at
discuss
that
it
time,
first.
we can entertain whether we want to go for a real appraisal or not.
I agree.
Because
But-
that's an expenditure that,
But whoever is going to consider purchasing the entire building would have to know that they will either be allowed to charge for parking or they will not be allowed to charge for parking.
Yeah,
That's a decision I think that we have to come to before you can move on.
Well, it's all part of that discussion.
one big ball of wax.
I'm good with waiting until our
Yeah,
discussion.
wait until, yeah, then we'll see. That can be part of it. Do we want to go for a full appraisal or not?
Well, that's fine. Whatever we decide at the August meeting, I'm not going to be here for September, so you can pass it.
I don't have anything except enjoy your break. We'll see you at the end of August.
I just wanted to reiterate, I think that you can hear that we're concerned about our future and planning for it, and want to make sure we have the finances for it.
Tom?
I think we had a great discussion today.
Good meeting.
Yep, and enjoy your break. That's all
Yep.
I have.
That's
See you
it?
in August.
Okay,
Have a good one, guys.
we will take a short recess. Does anybody need a break? On a 5-minute? No? Okay.
It's just soldier.
I like that stuff.
I do too. It just has a little caffeine. The other ones that aren't sparkly, I don't know, the water.